before I start the video, and the video is going to be about a series that I did while transitioning my channel from the main channel to this card game channel that is doing pretty well. But I still need more subscribers, guys. Everyone needs the magical 1,000 subscribers everyone is trying to reach. I heard the stats that only 10% of creators actually succeed. I don't know what that means. All I know is that normies cannot succeed. And I don't want to be a fucking normie. So if you have any respect, please click those buttons, guys. Click customize channel button and manage videos button. That's all I have. Now you'll find a way to subscribe. And then you'll see happy thumbnails that you don't want to click on, but it's just like there and stuff. And that's it. No big deal. So there's a series called Judgment. And I am bringing this thing back one more time. We're going to fix some shit. And it's probably going to take me like 30 minutes and not a whole hour to do it. It's just a little weird why I extended this so much. And here's the reason for the series to come back. Have you watched the latest Zeddy video? That one. I'll tell you this much. Half of it is absolute garbage. It's all dog shit. He's bringing back old videos that he made. The frustration video that makes no fucking sense. Because he's going to complain about puppet theater again. I'm so scared puppet theater. It's going to destroy my life. I swear. I saw the future. Bro is trying to keep Reno. I mean, I'm speechless. And trying to, warn people of like, this card is going to like annihilate everyone. It's going to be the best thing ever. I've seen it. I know. Yeah, but you can play around the second charge. You can kind of play around this thing. It's not an offender of anything. By the way, just play Dorian, and you get one copies over and over again. This guy didn't even mention Dorian, ever. While talking about puppet theater, Zeddy, there's a neutral card that you put on the board and it just constantly generates 1/1 copies of giant minions. Have you heard of that one? Yeah, it's very difficult to see sometimes. So literally half of the video is dog shit until he's like actually countering the Reddit post of like saying, before anyone asks, I have no idea how to fix this. This is so impossible. It's impossible to fix Hearthstone. Let me fix Hearthstone for you. Take the best decks and nerf 3 best cards. 3, not 1, 3. And nerf them fucking properly. Not just take away one attack, just like Zeddy says, 1 attack, stats bump. No, bro. What the fuck is that? The card text is getting so strong, that's where the power creep happens the most. Please address the card text, or actually bump the mana. For 2 mana monster, bumping to 3 mana is a pretty good nerf. That's how nerf's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be 50% nerf. Or one, in this case, it's 1.5 times. Yeah, it's 50%, bro. 50% nerf is a normal nerf of how all the outliers are supposed to fucking be destroyed. Because this is a pile of cards we have. This is the power creep line, right? If there's a thing that everyone is playing, it's probably over here. It's probably fucking spaceship of aliens and has to come down to Earth. I'm just saying, that's how things supposed to be happening. And even Zeddy's complaining successfully this time on the second part of the video, successfully saying that we have to change the text of the cards. This is how the video ends.
We could see Brand Warrior re-emerge because that text is still the same. That's my take on it. Why nerfs have not felt as great. It's not that there's not enough. Believe me, there's more than enough nerfs, and there could be more.
Yeah, could be more. It's true. The funny thing is, in this half of the video, also he mentions of like, well, maybe some nerfs were not justified. Actually, no, it's in here somewhere. Oh my god, it's almost towards the end. Saying that aura could have went to 2. It's too much. No, kill the card. Kill the card. It still does the same thing of adding lifesteal to a minion, which breaks the game immediately. When you mix lifesteal with any rush minion, basically. Or anything that dies on the board is gonna transfer lifesteal to another minion. What's wrong with this card? Like, it was used to kill the opponent, and now it can be used strategically to lifesteal, which is still incredibly powerful, and it lasts 3 turns. Relax, Zeddy. It is justified, unfortunately. He just doesn't know how tempo works. This freak. He doesn't know why this should have not stayed at 3 at all. No, please. Also, Death Knight is already pretty good. Poisonous is the most disgusting mechanic. This is the most powerful poisonous minion there is. Relax, Zeddy. I don't want a 10-10 to die from a 1-1 too often. Alright? Let's get that out of the way. Whatever he says was not deserved, like, he's stripping balls. But I'll still tell you the ending of the video.
My take on it, nerfs have not felt as great. It's not that there's not enough. Believe me, there's more than enough nerfs, and there could be more. It's just they're not nerfing hard enough, and they need to rework more cards, in my opinion. Let me know if you disagree.
That's all he says, rework cards, and at least I agree with 5 seconds of this video. That's cool, right? 5 seconds, very nice. When he says of like, oh, card text, you noticed, Zeddy. You notice the power level is within the card itself. Crazy. Even Marina, the garbage, is 50% popular in every deck. It's gonna be going to 60%. These are fucking super legendaries. These are insane cards. Why is this shuffling anything into the deck? I don't understand. What's the point of shuffling? Just to make things even more obscene? Because you're playing control and now you have extra fatigue material. Like, what the fuck is this shit? I don't understand how they print a card just to get nerfed. Just so I could disenchant it, potentially. This one I can't. This one is just fucking middle finger straight in everyone's face. Of like, oh well, it's free. Shit. That sucks. So a lot of cards have to be redesigned. And we have to explore this sort of mentality. Redesigning cards. Improving the design of cards. And that's what Judgment is all about. Let's find the coolest things to bring back as a discussion. So, we need a warm-up. I don't know why I have this, but there's some definitions. Like, get should replace add cards to your hands. Get this and that. The definition helps simplify text, like evolve should be a keyword. Instead it looks like this. I guess a good warm-up exercise is also maybe giants should reduce by 1 every single turn when the game is accelerating. You don't want to see giants too early, but you also want to see them being playable, right? So while giants are in your hands, they could get reduced by 1, down to 0. It's not a big deal to summon a 0-mana giant late game, and it could be strategic even. It's even called a ticking module on Ziliax. What is ticking? Nothing is ticking, bro. Yes, there can be more or less minions on the board. Usually there's 0, and I don't know what's ticking, to be honest. But if it would actually reduce by 1 every single turn that this is in hand, that would be a wonderful way to balance the game. Instead of relying on magic to do its trick, where you have to fucking nerf a giant. Since day one of the release of the game, we had Molten Giant pretty much. And it had to be nerfed this year? 10 years later? Okay. Something wrong with the game, don't you think? Zero mana cards shouldn't just come out of nowhere. It is what it is. One of the greatest designs in Hearthstone is this 6 mana card that I can't find. First of all, this, nobody complains about this. It's pretty strong. Alright, Totem Shaman is something to complain about. But this is just like a normal way to do it. It's a little bit too strong, it could go to 7. Though. This is like, when we're dealing with mana reduction, it does not make sense to allow it to be too strong, but here you go. At the start of the turn, there's card by this costs card by 1. This has to be simplified, the text has to be simplified to apply to like giant minions. This could be called giant. Not gigantify, but giant. Because it has a lot of mana. Or taking module, bro. No, I don't know what the name is. Profit, something with time. You can definitely add some kind of time thing. Like the giants also accumulate over time, so potentially you do that. Or show up over time. So, here you go. It's one of the coolest cards there is in the game because it used to be a 3 mana 4/4. If you're lucky enough, it's 3 mana 4/4. Strategically, you can play this for 0 mana at some point during the game, and it felt amazing. They never brought it back. The cards that they just die. All the good stuff, it just dies, gets forgotten about. At least it's there. At least we can bring back the history to some extent. But yeah, we have this giant. This is a normal giant. We can use excess mana to make it cheaper, but it's a little, you know, worthless overall. Because the Forge doesn't do anything. There's only a synergy card to make a Wall of China. But nobody plays that. Another thing is that constantly discover, now that you can discover crazy-ass legendaries, even the Scourge. Even the Scourge discovering is disgusting. You can't discover Titans. But the whole point is now there's these super legendaries that you keep on discovering. The best case to be given is this card. Everyone wants to discover this thing randomly. There's that one demon that wins the game for some reason, because it's a super Boardclears that deals damage to face as well. There's this one thing that people keep discovering and stealing my minions. Like, this has to fucking stop, bro. Like, enough. No more hero card discovers, no more super legendary discovers, please. Like, they even stopped triple rune discovers for a reason. Maybe we just stop legendary discovers in general, and all of the problems will disappear forever. Alright? They even restricted this hero discovers in arena. Like where you're just working around, not actually making the real decision that has to be made. The big one to stop discovering legendaries. Guess what I love discovering the most with my Scarab? Guess which card is the best one? It's just a good example. It's not exactly I'm upset about it, but like Flint discovered from Scarab is the only reasonable thing I can do in this game, unfortunately. But even that I'm willing to sacrifice for the sake of like stop that shit. And this was like episode 4 or something, or episode 2, when I said that. Yeah, I'm still thinking for a name for these giant things. Not only it could be taking, but Blizzard also has to think about revealing cards of what's happening in people's hands and all that shit. Revealing a little bit more. So if there's a giant that's taking, that's coming up, that's gonna come from hands, it should be an effect that's revealed. like a looming presence of a giant. That you can hear them coming closer and closer, bro. But not to reveal which giant is coming closer. Still a little bit confused on how play rates and drawn win rates differs from each other. But technically the idea is like something like this will not win you the game, but it will lead towards a victory in normal circumstances. Playing it is not just gonna win you the game, but in some circumstances, it's gonna be a very good tool if you just have it. Just having it. It's kind of like that, but I don't got it, bro. Like, look at the difference. Play win rate is actually very low, but having it in your hand is very high. Because you just never know when you need lifesteal. I think that's how it works. Or, play win rate is high because it's a win condition. So having more mana, 2 more mana than your opponent, yep, pretty good win condition. Because it accelerates Marine and Eonar effects. Somehow Gem Tosser is actually one of the worst cards in the deck. Okay. And definitely not something you keep in hand. Mulligan win rate also is a little bit annoying because, like, you need this in the opening hand and it allows you to win the game. This being at 70% is absolutely ridiculous. And should immediately go to 3 mana. Immediately, like, it has to, or that. Or you change the text somehow, but I don't know what the fuck that means. For a card like this. By the way, I think Gan and Baku can stay indefinitely in standard. No one's gonna be mad about that. And that's the whole point. It's like, if no one's mad, why rotate the damn thing in the first place? Holy crap. Only reported criminals with bounties should be deported out of this country, bro. Instantly. They're just putting too much work on themselves, these weirdos. Printing new cards, refreshing the game every single time. But then can't fucking maintain the game. And everyone keeps on complaining, and complaining is just like a part of the game, to be honest. That's what you have to learn to do. Just complain. Not in my comment section, please. I'm already max complain type of person. Max angry. You don't need to make me more angry. Because something's gonna break in your part of town. Tony makes no sense. It should be reworked again? What was so broken about it? Well, the broken part was actually making this immune and unkillable. That was the broken part. It would flip the decks, and it had to be reworked into nothing. But it's good anti-fatigue tool, I guess. It might actually be something I want to craft. Funny enough. I don't know why it had to go to 7 mana all of a sudden. But it would help. Like, if you want to beat Boom Boss, gotta go for Piracy. So this one is a questionable card. I don't know why people not play it, is my question. Now, Arena also has to be redesigned. I have chosen to redesign some cards. Let me just bring that shit up. Not only I can redesign cards, but I can also respect the game development side of things. So I don't want to ask for complicated features and all that shit. I only ask for things that already exist. We all know that, to some extent. I just think someone like Zeddy is trying to be overly careful. So the damage definition, I believe there's like spread damage or special damage that targets weakest minions. It could be simplified technically. Or AoE damage. Like that one. Just say damage. Massive damage? I don't know. It's just possible, that's why I wrote it down. The spread damage is the worst one because it like takes 3 spread amongst. Okay, split amongst is the worst. Like this can be simplified to passive. Okay, maybe it's more complicated because it still has to specify attack, this damage. It is what it is, but like the split damage, 8 split damage. Now it still specifies enemies or character or minions, right? That's also complicated. See, the worst part about these cards is the 4 lines of text. It's the worst. Like, if they would redesign Hearthstone, they would definitely tackle this stupid box. But in a way, it's kind of sacred at the same time. So, they do have to start adopting simplifications of certain effects. Because who cares? Like, we have to still recognize and understand that it's better when we have to read less. Because half of the understanding of how the card works is playing the damn card in the first place. There's no other way. Just like Titans. Titans can only be understood, not by reading, but by playing the Titan over and over again. There's no other way. So if they're leaning towards printing Titans and Colossals, the most obscene minions in terms of like understanding how they work, they can start simplifying text. I still can't summon Colossal, bro. Oh wait, it's rotated. Like, do you understand how this works? Just by reading? Oh wait, you need to read more text. And you will still not understand how the fuck this thing works. Do you understand how this thing works? Nope. You probably don't even know what the fuck it does. I can like show you all these things and you will not know what it does still. Maybe you're just too lazy to read it. It's just like simplification would be so much better, and that should be like the restriction overall instead of like spreading out into multiple boxes to explain things. But it is what it is. If it's a legendary, maybe it's excused. Maybe if it's spare parts explained or plague explained, it's excused. But in most situations, I would avoid additional text boxes. I create a passive keyword for the rest of the game. Is passive. I would say add passive because passive could be its own thing of like in the end of turn type of passive. It could just be called permanent effect. But the reason why I call it passive, it would be added to the pool, the Christmas tree of things, right? We already have that thing. We already have a passive ability that you apply when we play Twist. So this shit has to be reworked 100%. This has to be a normal thing now. Just like in duels, the dead game mode, we would have 2 passive abilities, but only the first few turns can you see what those passive abilities are. The rest of the game, you have to just, you know, pay attention, apparently. You know, so, all passives are now supposed to be Christmas tree decorations. Yeah, you go. You understand that. We even have auras. Auras last like 3 turns. It's almost like a passive ability. Just temporary. Certain amount of turns. There could be a passive ability that waits for something to happen and disappears. Like you gain 10 armor and it disappears. That would be even fucking crazier way to redesign Odin. If you gain 10 armor in 1 turn, the passive will disappear. If you gain less, you can use this ability. That would be a very good way to restrict Odin from just OTKing opponent a bunch of times. No, if you want to kill your opponent, waste all the armor, you gain 8 armor and you smack your opponent in the face over and over again. That would be a wonderful way to restrict this bad boy. So you say it's passive, not battle cry, like battle cry for the rest of the game. Yeah, cool. Just say passive, it's a whole thing. All these super legendaries, you know. Blah, blah, blah. Gaining 10 plus armor breaks the passive. So, or ends the passive. So, that's it. Easy fix. You can even say aura at this point. Aura is something very easy to understand, and passive could just be used as the end of turn effect. It is also important to punish people from doing this sort of like machine gun effect of like, oh, I'll just generate a bunch of zero cost cards, which is kind of weird. I mean, the best way to nerf this card is make it cost 2 mana when you get a copy. No, copy costs 2 mana, actually. Because getting copies of cards is already pretty fucking good. And some things just cost 1 mana because they got discounted by accident. Getting zero cost cards is always a degenerate thing to happen in Hearthstone. Especially when it's just like a copy. So this is definitely a cheese win condition that has to be thought about a little bit more. That's what Zeddy highlighted. Immune attack. Immune while attacking. Like, this has to be simplified and applied to more creatures. It's one of the coolest things. In fact, we already have another experimental card that does that, and it's pretty good. Footman. Immune while attacking. Should be a keyword. Should be simplified into a keyword. It's a pretty good deal. Again, the keywords should be sacred and applied more often and created more often. As long as they're relatively simple to understand. Like, poisonous is extremely simple to understand. Things smash into each other, and as long as the other thing does not have divine shields and actually takes damage, they die. That's it. As long as the source is poisonous. And keywords are easy to change. The text of the keywords, the way the keywords work, is easy to change, so I would highly recommend developers actually go for it. I can't even, like, read the keyword, by the way. Keywords are actually not sacred enough because I can't fucking read them right now in this form of the card. I have to actually zoom out of the card and then read the fucking keywords like an idiot. Damage dealt also heals your hero. I mean, I hate lifesteal. It's very, very simplified. And it's a brain teaser of, like, how do you chip away 50% of lifesteal power, so it's, like, one-sided. You can say on your turn, damage dealt on your turn will heal your hero. Making these cards weaker, but, like, this card is just garbage anyways. And all lifesteal minions are kind of inclined to deal damage on your turn and rush into opponent's minion. It's not gonna change much. I'm just like, I hate attacking into lifesteal minions knowing that my opponent is being healed back to full. And there's not much I can do about it anymore. The greatest sadness of all time. Strategic problem. It's already a strategic problem of, like, removing minions that have passive abilities. Like lifesteal is a passive ability. It occurs over and over and over again. As long as the minion survives. This is not a fucking joke, bro. In fact, it's one of the biggest problems in the Hearthstone I talked about. Womp womp. And every deck needs lifesteal now to win the game. To survive, technically, but as long as you survive long enough and you have a Solid win condition, you win the game. I even brought a very old card into the mix. It's called Surrender to Madness. This could be a pretty good card. A pretty mad card. It's one of the coolest designs I've done in a Judgment video. Every minion has Overheal and Finale. Gain +1/+1. So, you gain this passive ability, and now, every time you play a minion, you have to try and finale a certain minion. You have to start thinking about it. You also have to think about overhealing minions, of like, maybe if I overheal this, it's gonna gain just enough stats to do something different, or to defend other minions. Whatever, right? Maybe I can just splash heal everything. I think it's only your minion, though. Although, I would just, you know, I would not put a tag on this thing. Maybe it's just like straight up every minion. Maybe you just straight up induce madness onto the game itself. I mean, I would love that shit. You overheal anything. So Splash Heal would actually heal opponent's minions too. It's just a ridiculous card. All of a sudden you can make out of this, which is absolute garbage. Destroy 3 mana crystals and give minions in your deck +2/+2, bro. And then people laughed at this card and couldn't make it work because you lost 3 mana crystals out of nowhere. They didn't even change the card. Like, how is Blizzard not taking responsibility for failing to make a good card and failing to and breaking the game with insane cards? Right? They take no responsibility besides a little bit of tweak here and there. We just click a titsy bitsy, you know, 5% nerf. Every nerf has to be 50%. 50%. And accompanied with plenty of buffs as well. There should be as many buffs as there are nerfs to juicy cards that not seeing play, but, you know, are borderline very interesting. Or could be better. Like, is Blizzard not running out of ideas of how to improve cards, of how to change cards? Surely that's not the case. It would be insane if that would be the case. Man, I wish Mecha Leaper was a thing. I wish I saw it. Instead, it's a thumbnail. That's how I feel about Hearthstone. It is what it is, man. There could also be instant use keywords. Just like stealth is somewhat instant use because the minion gets stealth for 1 turn immediately. Or stealth usually means forever, which is kind of weird. Stealth should just be normalized to 1 turn. We no longer have stealth minions because stealth is fucking broken, right? It shouldn't just have permanent stealth. None of these. And nobody uses stealth except for Zilliax, and Zilliax just lost stealth because it's so fucking broken. So fix stealth, maybe? Have you tried fixing keywords? No? By the way to fix Zilliax, pretty simple. Which modules are good and which ones are bad? Shift the power level a little bit, like take away Reborn and put it somewhere here, where it's recursive module, where it makes fucking sense. Recursive, Reborn, you know, comes back to life. Recursive. Obviously, the mana has to change, because Reborn is a pretty powerful mechanic. But if you couple Reborn with Poisonous, like, it's a perfect module, but it's called Virus module. And the perfect module is not perfect because it doesn't have magnetic in it. Is what it is, I guess. Maybe there shouldn't be a perfect module, by the way. Maybe you just combine 2 modules into a perfect module. How about that? Into old school Zilliax. With magnetic, please. With just old school, bro. Like, why lose things as well? Why lose the feature of magnetic? Also, too much attack on this twin module. I'm just saying, bro. Making copies of things that will obliterate the shit out of you, especially power plus twin module, also playable. So these things have to be shifted around, and there should be more flexibility of fixing cards through text. But all that happened, just stealthily disappeared somehow, miraculously. They just realized, oh, that one's broken. We should have not done anything with stealth. That's pretty unhealthy for the game. Unstealthy for the game, guys. You can bring back Inspire. Why not bring back Inspire? Why just stop with Gen and Baku? Why not make hero powers fucking cool again? Why not give Reno Inspire effect? Oh, by the way, I need to show Zeddy something. So remember that Puppet Theater? I have found a card that people actually play in their decks, and it literally does even more than Puppet Theater. You gotta figure out what to do with this card, Zeddy. Do you want to talk about this card? Do you want to cry about it? Because it's already breaking the game, and he's fucking crying about Puppet Theater. Like, unbelievable noise from this man. Even something like Pyrotechnician is annoying that it doesn't work anymore. It just floods your hand with shitty fire spells. How do you fix this? I have no idea, but I want this to work. Best clue I have is, like, make it a battle cry, so next turn you play spells, you get a fire spell extra. Easy. I almost feel Battlecry is such a staple that there should not be Battlecries anymore. It should just turn into a fucking emoji at this point. Just like I use emojis for my cards. Battlecry should just be a simple fucking emoji. Let's pick an emoji for Battlecry. Here you go, Reno. The cowboy. There you go. The cowboy emoji. Fixed it. Because I'm getting tired of people saying battle cry. I don't want to hear that word anymore. I just want to see cowboy emoji. Okay? Just to prove my point, I have to say charge. See? It's very difficult to see battle cry sometimes. Especially when it's on a card that's like, what? I mean, it does supposed to have battle cry. That makes sense, though. It does. Okay, Leroy can stay with the battle cry, but no one else deserves it then, okay? Leroy can have battle cry, but everyone else just gets... Or Leroy emoji. Just turn this into emoji, and everyone will know. Everyone will know, bro, what battle cry is. When you charge into the battlefields. And if you want to extend the BM, you know what skull emoji to put. Because the emoji actually appears on the card when it gets played onto the board. So why not just fucking put it here? Some people can't even spell this word out. What is death rat? It's a death rat, bro. Rataloid. It's fucking insane, bro. They taught us words that I'm just like, I'm still rolling in the grave for 10 years straight. And some card... Okay, I thought this had Battle Cry and Death Rattle. Surely some cards do have both. Alright, just to solidify my final point is... That's what it is. In plain English. If this space is sacred, you better fucking shave every single character you can get. Let's talk about preferably definition. Not a keyword, but it's used in the card's text. Alright? Preferably. What preferably could happen? There's two cards in general that I would change. Where's the goddamn card, bro? I can find it by saying draw. It's a card that's not being used, even though it can draw a card, but it actually does absolutely fucking nothing. How about draw a card, preferably the one that didn't start in your deck? Alright? Also, what the if there's a card in your deck that didn't start, what? Even that wording kind of sucks. So, use preferably. How about that? And, personal opinion, draw 2 cards, okay? It's enough. Enough is enough. Like, just draw 2 cards. No requirement. I'm sorry, bro. Like, no one plays this card anyways. Because you have to have a location. But even though you kind of have location, no one plays this anyways. Why draw 2 is so forbidden right now. But then generating 1/1 copies, completely fine. Absolutely fine. Having card draw as class cards, which is like pretty brutal if a class card is just draws cards. Like, that should be the identity of neutral set, of drawing cards. Why not just lean towards that? So many spells just printed just to draw cards in class. Like, what the fuck? I understand if it does something extra, like draw 2 special size minions, because that's the identity of the class. But let's see how many card draw cards every class has to have. Like, this sort of makes sense, draw because undeads are dying. Hey, whatever. But this one's like super popular. Yeah, I understand. But I kind of don't, because they rely on this card. Everyone relies on card draw in general. Card draw is literally Demon Hunter identity. It's a little weird, because some cards are just weak in terms of drawing cards. Doesn't feel like an identity, to be honest. It feels like Rogue has a card draw identity by using 1 card. You know? That's their card draw identity. I feel like Rogue has a card draw identity not with this, but also with this. The Gatekeeper. This is actually the best way to draw cards, I think. Like, for real. Let's be honest. This should probably be in more decks. This has been nerfed, and it's like, nah, this is not the problem. This is the solution to the fucking game not functioning properly. That's how I draw cards from now on. I'm done. I'm just generating a bunch of crap in my hand and gaslighting it. Setting it on fire. I'm done, bro. I'm done thinking of like, oh, every class has to have its own draw engine. I have to figure that shit out. It's getting out of control, bro. And usually you end up generating cards as your win condition anyways, because drawing cards is still kind of pathetic garbage. You just draw into card draw anyways. Surely that should have said draw a card. Surely that was necessary. Again, this might be the most confusing part for you guys, but it's too much. Too much cycle. If it cycles, if it just says draw a card as to cycle, as to use this as a bonus hero power, I mean, I'll take that anytime. That sounds good to me. You thin your deck for specific combos. The combo man would be very happy. But the combo man would be so much happier if there's more neutral card draw available. In fact, we would play so many more combo decks. And that's actually a good thing, because that's a unique experience that not always can be conjured. And Dorian would get nerfed instantly the moment there's more card draw. Alright? Dorian needs to fucking die, bro. Somehow. The best way to kill Dorian is the most obvious way. Put miniaturize on the card. Don't just give us 1/1. Not only it will free up hand space, but it will just, you know, force you to play the big minion first, and then you get the miniature copy after you play the goddamn thing. After you spend full mana on your stupid Yogg. And you don't just play it on turn 6 or something to obliterate the universe. Because that's a happy time when Yogg just cost 1 mana, isn't it? Best time of the year. Changing Marine, I think that almost all treasures have to be changed except for the Tempo treasure. Who cares about Tempo treasure? It seems fine. Seems like an explosive noise. But, like, don't shuffle. I said, don't shuffle, okay? Like, we don't need that. It's too much already. Too much treasure going on. You can even make this cheaper if you want, but, like... And this has to change for sure. Reducing things to 0 mana now that we have, like, super legendaries and all this, like, crazy stuff that can happen. Like, let's reduce the randomness a little bit. You can reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1, just like old school Thoris in effect, right? Bam Slam, good enough for me. But having these, like, crazy effects of just reducing to 0 cost, we already had that shit. We already had something called the Relic already. It was such a great treasure. Everyone loved it, you know, except it got nerfed to 6 mana from 5. Whoops. And was still pretty toxic, I would say. Maybe it should just reduce things in your hands. It's much cooler when the effect is spread out. Alright? And this shit is just kind of weird. Like, make this playable. You can create, like, permanent cards. There's already a legendary that gives you permanent cards. But it rotated. And we're never gonna get this effect. Permanent cards. How about... Actually, there is this. Except it's a different sort of portal for Paladin. Right, for Highlander Paladin, we have the stupid card that I don't have. Permanent Mirage, alright? Permanent shit should be more often given to players, alright? And now we have a chance to have just that, like permanent random card, for example. It's a never-ending goblet of stuff, basically. Cool. This could give you a permanent legendary if you, like, discard 3 cards from your hands and give a permanent legendary portal. Here you go. Easy. Easy fix. Because these cards are fucking old now. For fuck's sake, like, are you serious? You're just gonna, like, slam some old shit together with duct tape and ship it to players and it breaks the game immediately and it's the best card in the game right now? Thank you, Blizzard. Wow. Wonderful news. I immediately hate your stupid card now. Just a reminder. Reduce the twisting nethers in the game. Reduce the brawls in the game. Change the way they work. Brawl is like the oldest garbage ever. And I even talked about this aspect of like just old stuff still lingers around and destroys everything. And Blizzard pretends that this is like a low power card. But no, it still does the same thing and it destroys everything. Like, relax. Everyone plays Brawl all the time. When I play minions, they get brawled. Maybe change the way it works. So only one strongest minion prevails after the actually battle in an actual animation of smashing into each other until one creature remains and it's victorious and it gets +5/+5 or something. That would be fucking awesome, bro. That would be the best thing ever if you can just improve the fun of the cards and not just leave them as rotten garbage that nobody wants to see but is shoved 6 times in one deck, basically. Where you just sit back, increase your armor. Oh, it's time to play Brawl. Okay. You know. Until the game ends because you played Odin, you know. Wow, what a fucking gameplay we have here, you know. Until your armor becomes toxic garbage, bro. Jesus Christ. They have invented the stupidest way to play the game, and I'm just waiting for who's actually complaining about it. Because everyone complains about me, you know. It's just I'm the worst, I'm the most toxic. I'm just trying to play the game, bro. And everything fucking sucks in here. And people are still pretending that this is the most alive game on the list. You mustn't... I don't understand this part, but if they believe in it, you know, I have to concede to the idea. But actually, these guys getting 5%, and this is going to be an evergreen, you know, a very long-lasting poll. So participate, change your opinion, kill Hearthstone. Hearthstone has 70% health right now in this poll. So do whatever it takes to support your thing. You want to support Trainhead? You want to support Ben Broda? The new and improved version of Ben Broda? You want to kill Hearthstone? Or keep Hearthstone alive for whatever the fuck brain dead reason you have there. We have to use this poll against Blizzard developers to, because, you know, weaponize it. Because they deserve to see it, to bleed their eyes out of how they're killing the game slowly. So right now it's at 70%, but each time I make a video, let's hope this shit goes down. I will encourage Marvel Snap people to join in and just eat up Hearthstone, compete against Hearthstone. Just throw tomatoes, because we have a setup, perfect setup of like, this is gonna go down and it's gonna be satisfying. It's gonna be 9/11. The most toxic thing I can come up with. No, it's more like Trump versus Biden. Trump wins again. I don't know how to call this to make it satisfying. I just failed twice. But that's how I want the name. It's so funny, like, we need Viper. Why do we need Viper? Because there's a fucking super giant weapon in the game that still has not been addressed or changed in any way. What the fuck is this super giant 10 mana weapon? We never even had a 10 mana weapon. This would be good without text, I would imagine. Instead, it has to summon 8 drops, give you 8 armor, basically make you immortal. What the fuck is this shit that everyone is scared of? Like, please, Viper, you must protect me. There's a super legendary weapon floating around in space and time. No. Can we not do that? Please? Can we not just pretend that this one card can win the game? Because the other two are kind of garbage. Just turn this 10 mana sneak attack this 10 mana weapon and turn it into 3 mana, okay? Okay, Blizzard, please. You can do it. It's like in between of dealing 2 damage to things or giving you 2 armor and 4 armor, you can give 3 armor. You can even spice this up and turn it into a 4/2 weapon. Very unique stats. It's not a 3/4, it's not a 2/2, it's not even in between, it's its own thing, a 4/2 weapon. Isn't that crazy? You craft an actual weapon and not just a murder weapon like a fucking machine gun or a nuclear weapon, basically. Runic nuclear weapon. Either rename this into runic nuclear weapon or and then rename Viper into just like, I don't know, missile protection program snake operator. I don't know, bro. But it's more serious than it used to be, my friends. It's a little bit more serious with the stupid Ignis thing that every single control deck has to run, which is so annoying that every control deck has to run all these super legendaries. There's no escape. That's your win condition. Yeah, that's kind of cool, but like these super legendaries can kill other decks too, pretty easily. The Ignis one, just removing Ignis' ability to heal you with lifesteal, with armor, I mean, that would be good enough nerf for me, to be honest. And the Wind Fury shit can go away too. Puts 10 mana weapon, like, it's already fucking nightmare. Just to look at. Just to think that this thing has to get countered by a fucking snake. Thank you very much. In fact, what the fuck Ignis is even doing Why not just every time you forge, you get a random temporary weapon? You know? Why not just buff forge cards instead of requiring you to forge ones? Of like, what the fuck? It's just the ugliest design ever. If you forged a card this game, all of a sudden you can ask me for a custom weapon. What? It's kind of lame. Like, for the rest of the game, every card that you forge is gonna give you a temporary weapon. That would be some fucking cool shit, man. Every class would get weapons. Everyone's happy, I think. And because you get temporary weapons, these are weapons, so you can only equip one of them at a time. It's not gonna break the game. It's genius move. You're not gonna get just infinite value. You're gonna get value over time. For forging cards, for having more and more forged cards, you're gonna get more and more value. That would be so much fucking better. But instead we have Hearthstone ugly design creeping in and giving us a fucking nuclear missile. So what else? What else? So I didn't actually finish talking about Reno. The best way to do Reno is this effect. All right, I'm a highlight. Being the Bone Banger. All right, 6 mana. Bring it down to 6 mana. Bring everything down to lower mana to make it more playable. Instead, they're just like trying to rip the card off our hands so we can't play it anymore. Redesigning is so much better. It keeps the card playable in the first place. You know, now it's just like, oh, Odin is just further away. I don't want to play Odin, but I kind of want to play Odin. Botface is still at 9 mana. What the fuck? Like, it's a fun card, but no one's gonna play this at 9 mana. It's impossible. You can't even, like, combo it with self-damaging things. What's the point? You can barely play 1 mini after you play this on turn 10. It's the ugliest design ever. Like, what is it? Why is this that 10 mana? Well, what the fuck is this shit? Are you scared of 3 bombs shuffled in opponent's deck? Yeah, I would be scared. Then make it 2. Make it playable, for fuck's sake. If you can't make a good giant legendary or a card, then don't do it. If you can't squeeze fun out of it, like, it's too big. What's the point? So just making cards bigger and stupider doesn't fix the problem. Reno is still absolute toxic nonsense and is going to be the last thing I'll talk about. The way you change this, bring back Inspire effect, okay? When you use your hero power, if you have no duplicates in your deck, give a Divine Shield +3/+3 to random friendly minion. Here you go. The Lone Ranger is teaching loneliness. Okay, maybe that's too. Well, a lonely person knows how to be independent, right? So he can focus on one minion and life coach them into being fucking buff-ass immortal creatures. Alright? And your hero power all of a sudden is insane. If you have no duplicates, it's insane. You don't need any other effects for Reno. You don't need to clear the board and limit their space. In fact, this is just super pure toxic garbage. And the second effect is complete nonsense. If you want to limit space to 1, you have to actually design it properly where it doesn't destroy things. Okay? Let's focus on that. Let's not destroy things, limit space. Like, what should happen? Right? But what should happen? I don't know. You figure it out. But the way this thing works is absolute garbage. And this part, the Zeddy change, is also absolute garbage because Zeddy was scared of 1 card and 1 card only that also has to be changed. So as a bonus meme, what do we do to Helia, bro? Get the hell out of here, am I right? Shuffle extra plague every time you shuffle plague for the rest of the game. Shuffle extra plague. That's it. Bro, like, let's not make things like incredibly insane where it just kills all the control decks. Oh, if you control deck, that's what it says. That's what it says on the card. If you control deck, you die. You die. And it has a little bit of ha 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 in the end. If you play game to fatigue, I win. Wow. This was the reason why Reno changed and everything else changed, is just Plague Death Knight. I don't know how Death Knight does it, but it kills the game consistently every time. The Blood's Death Knight killed the game. The Frost Death Knight was pretty fucking toxic garbage. And now the Plague Death Knight is killing the game. Who would have thought, right? Death Knight is gonna bring death to Hearthstone. Thank you very much for watching. Eat ass. If you're a Blizzard game developer, you know, this is just a suggestion. I'll send you my address. Eat ass. All right. In case there's not enough ass where you live, I'll send you my address. Thank you very much for watching.